Namaste and hello. Welcome to the first episode of The Light Within. I'm immensely grateful for all the love and support you have showered on this platform. It's my earnest effort to provide value to your time. In this episode, we will share perspectives about spirituality, a more detailed account of the whys and the hows of it. And towards the end, I will share a few ideas on how you can connect with your inner guidance. Although most of us on this path have a fair idea of what being spiritual means, but if someone was to ask us to define it, I bet most of us will struggle. How do you define something so subtle and imperceptible? To me, spirituality means to be in spirit. What does that even mean? In spirit means to be in touch with your soul rather than your mind. Let's decode that before we move forward. You and I are a soul inhabiting a body and not the other way around. We have lived many lifetimes, and that imprint is how we behave in the world today. To understand spirituality, it's important to first realize that you are not your body, you are a soul. I think conceptually you know this to be true, and this information may not even be new to you. But let me ask you this question. How are you using this information? So if you know that you are a soul and not a body, how has it made your life different? Are you in your spirit in your day-to-day life? Knowing is one thing and applying is another. Spirituality is about the application of this knowledge. When the world is pulling you with expectations and standards of looks, money, status, job, power, and so much of distraction around you, do you have the ability to connect with that inner voice and take the decision based on what it says to you? And let me tell you that this may sound abstract to you, but when you put a conscious effort to move inward, you will understand meaning behind these words. Most of us during the waking time of the day operate from body consciousness, sometimes even letting others to make decisions for us. And often we come so far off in life with the decisions that others have made for us that we almost forget that we still have the power within us. If only we could give up the resentments and take responsibility starting from that very moment. We just keep circling back to consequences those choices and decisions have created for us and never start afresh. But it's a matter of decision. A decision to follow the discipline that's needed to be connected with yourself rather than the world. Decision to respond from love than fear. Decision to honor your soul's truth no matter how hard it seems to you right now. I'm going to briefly touch upon the subject of religion because some of us think that being religious and spiritual is the same thing. Well, it's not. Religion and spirituality seek answers to the same questions of who am I, what's my purpose, and what is the meaning of life, however, with a different lens. Religion is a set of collective beliefs passed on to us from generations to generations, while spirituality is an individual journey. It's an exploration. It is paced differently and naturally for most of us. Some of us have started, some of us have advanced greatly, and some of us are not even close to the beginning. In fact, you might say, I don't relate to this stuff. Fair enough, I am not selling you anything here. I am sharing a perspective, and you take the step if it resonates. If it doesn't, it is fine. The questions are still the same. However, how we navigate through life in search of those answers is totally different. For some reason, when I think of religion, I feel as if God is somewhere out there. And when I think of spirituality, I feel the presence within me. Hence, to me, spirituality is about placing faith in the power that I have within me and not searching for the divine out there. Let me clarify that I am a religious person too, and I believe in the power of rituals, as most of them are scientific and have a symbolic meaning. But the problem is that we try to understand our epics and rituals literally than understanding that mostly they are metaphors. Now let me ask you something else. Some of us are working professionals and I bet most of us have given interviews where we aspired for a role but we had no experience of doing it earlier. How difficult was it to explain something that you knew in theory but had not done in reality? It was difficult, right? It is because you don't know what comes along with that experience of doing something. What I'm coming at is that don't believe anything that I say. These are my experiences, and I want you to experiment and find the truth for yourself. I'm not saying this because I don't want to take the responsibility of what I say on this platform. I am saying this because this is the only way. You cannot talk about anything confidently if you have not experienced it. Now that we understand the what part of spirituality, let's discuss the whys. Why are we even talking about it? The other day, I was with a few friends, and one of them mentioned his interest to explore meditation practice. So we got talking while this other friend standing next to us was listening quietly for some time. After a while, he couldn't resist and asked my friend, "What is the problem, brother? Something happened? Why do you want to get into all this?" And there were many questions like this. Both of us looked at each other, stunned at that response. In that moment, I realized people's perception about spiritual path. People think that something has to be wrong with you, as in something must have happened in your life and that's why you have chosen to practice spirituality. And as I have experienced in my life, nothing bad has to happen to you at all. My answer to all the whys is that this journey is unique to everyone. You were not your own creation. And if you believe in God or higher power, you will know that there is more to life than simply doing a 9 to 5, raising a family, or maintaining social status. Deep down, you know this is true. I have come across so many conversations with people from different backgrounds, and the question still remains the same. You don't have to be broke. You don't need to go through a tragedy. Everything is fine in the lives of people who are on spiritual path. In fact, they are way ahead of those who have not even taken a step forward. And I don't say this with any sort of ego. I say this with a lot of understanding and compassion. You wake up when you choose to wake up, and that's all it is. Why is it that even the ones settled fairly in life are not at peace? You may have everything in life and yet you feel the void. Why? Because that's the thing with human spirit. It seeks expansion. Humans are driven to explore, discover, create, and get better. There comes a time when you can simply not deny this to your soul anymore. So if you have reached that point in life, how do you start? How do you connect with your soul or inner guidance or whatever you want to call it? Allow me to share 3 keys that have worked for me. Let me start with a question again. Do you keep your house clean? Do you keep your wardrobe, kitchen, work desk clean? Of course, yes. I can almost hear you say that. And I believe you do. It's on the outside. You can see it. People can judge you for that. It is a reflection of who you are, messy or tidy. No matter how much you dislike it, you will do it because you're worried about how people will see you. How many times have you consciously made an effort to cleanse your mind? And no, you don't have to be a saint. You don't become one anyway just by doing this. This is basic hygiene, which we have forgotten to maintain because we are busy being busy. We pay attention to others more than we pay to ourselves. You know what I mean. We hold on to so much in our minds. Bad decisions, resentments, fear of all kinds, and whatnot. We rarely make an effort to go deep and peep to see what's all buried there. Why? Well, ask yourself and be ready to hear the answers. So the first step is wipe it clean. This is what I call it. As you bring awareness, you take the power away from all that you have buried inside your mind. I remember I used to keep a screensaver with this text, wipe it clean, so that it serves me as a reminder every time I unlocked my phone. Sounds silly? I think silly and simple is better than intellectual and fancy. We will speak about those methods as well in detail in the upcoming episodes. But for now, just bring the awareness to see how much have you accumulated. There's a whole different life that we live inside of our mind, and no one ever gets to know. We might be sweet on the face and bitter in the mind. I'm not saying that we all are evil and we do it all the time, but sometimes we do, isn't it? Can you be honest with yourself and face the demons you have placed there? As you move the garbage from the trail, you will find a way to the energy inside of you which is bright and pure. The next one to help you to find your connection is discipline. Discipline has been the guiding light throughout my life. I value discipline over everything else. It's the most important factor in keeping you on the path, whatever it is. Now, some of us are so habituated in our way of thinking and lifestyle that we just don't pay attention to see if that is even working for us. Your mind consumes the diet that you give it and it shapes accordingly. The more you feed it junk, the more junk it will create. So if you are habituated to watch murder mysteries and expect to write an inspiring story, it's not going to happen. You will have to switch off from that content and it won't happen instantly. It is now a part of your system. So at the risk of being unpopular, I am going to be honest and tell you that be very careful of what you're feeding your mind with. It doesn't mean that you have to quit social media or Netflix or anything that you're watching. Pause for a few days and see if there's any change. Pay attention. Remember that we are talking about connecting with the inner guidance, and that won't happen if you don't create space. You know yourself best, just be honest with yourself. Now, the next suggestion that you can experiment with is drop the whys. This is again a big one. As smart as we think we are, we know nothing about life. If this sounds too pessimistic to you, let me elaborate. We are holding on to knowledge and information that we have acquired from books, from experiences, from people, and mostly boast about it everywhere. On the other hand, we have no clue of what's going to happen in the next moment. Now, when things don't go our way in any space, work, relationships, finances, or anything else, the first thought that comes to our mind is why or why me? Question is, why not? Who says it cannot happen? Who says it cannot happen to you? I know it sounds mean and brutal, but isn't that the truth? When things go well, we never think why, because that is what we desire, happiness and harmony. But when things go wrong, we immediately become a victim. The point is, good or bad, happy or sad, are we ever in control of people and situations? We think we are, but we are not. So just drop the whys and focus on the present moment. If your mind takes you back to the sob story, pull it back with all your willpower. Because if you allow that to happen, your mind will create stories after stories. So when the times are hard and this thought pops up, try to neutralize it by focusing on the present moment and do what is in your control. Tell yourself, this is where I am. Where do I go from here? And that's it. It is such a powerful statement. When you step into this zone, you will be able to connect with the guidance and make much better decisions. So, to summarize, you connect with yourself by wiping it clean, instilling the discipline, and dropping the whys. Let me clarify that this is not a one-time activity, and these are not the only suggestions that you can follow. You will have to do it every single day, and you will have to keep figuring out what works for you. Just by taking a few steps, you will develop a lens to see things clearly. As I said, this is a journey. Nothing happens in a day. With every step, you will find that something more gets revealed to you. So that's it in this episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you for being here with me. Together, let's embark on this journey of self-discovery and soulful living. Until next time, may your soul be illuminated with the light within. Take care, and I will see you soon in the next episode. Until then, keep shining the light within.